Hey, this is your girl, Chrisette Michelle, and you are listening to The Biz.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning to The Biz with D. And right now we have Chrisette Michelle on the line. How you doing, Chrisette?
I'm great, thank you.
Well, it's so great to have you on the line. I know a lot of your fans are tuned in right now. Just in case for all the people who don't know who you are, kind of tell them a little bit about yourself.
Cool, I am a recording artist, currently on the record label Motown, and I'm about to put out my fourth album entitled Better, April 30th.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about life before you got signed to Island Def Jam. What were you doing?
I was in college, preparing to be a professional singer, whether or not it was commercial, R&B, jazz, gospel, or any type of genre didn't really matter. I just wanted to sing.
Excellent. And you went to, goodness, I'm drawing a blank what college you went to. Which college did you go to again?
I went to Five Towns College in Long Island. It's a private college, and I went for vocal jazz performance.
Oh, nice. I have a friend that goes there, and I think she's going for the exact same thing.
Oh, cool. I'm sure they'll have a really, really good time. It was one of the best times of my life.
Let's talk about the new project. I don't even know where to start. We can just talk about the album. We can talk about the mixtape, but let's talk about the mixtape first.
Okay. I went to Paris and London, Amsterdam and Brussels to retrace the footsteps of one of my favorite icons, Audrey Hepburn. It was a really, really fun time. I had wanted to take a trip to Paris for a while, and so that was a great excuse to do it for art and for music and for the love of research, because I have a passion for just being a nerd and knowing history. So it was a really, really fun time, and I was inspired by all the wonderful, wonderful, beautiful people that I got to meet. I met people from Brazil and from Angola and from France, of course, and just from so many different places. I was inspired because it showed me that no matter where you go, everybody always joins together, you know. So it taught me never to forget who I was, because everywhere that I go, I kind of am, if that makes any sense.
I know that you were inspired by her, like fashion-wise, like you just have like a serious love for her. How did she just overall inspire you, like growing up?
Well, one of my favorite things about Audrey Hepburn is she's had a lot of trials in her life. Her life is quite similar to that of Anne Frank. They had some of the same experiences. But from all the ups, which were great, she did over 30 films, and all of the downs, if you read any of her books or memoirs, you'll know about the downs, which I'd rather not glorify. She was an ambassador for UNICEF, and she was an incredible philanthropist. And that's what strikes me about her the most, is that even though we know about all of her quote-unquote glory, she didn't glorify that. She glorified being a good person.
How would you say the response so far to the mixtape has been for you?
It's been kind of overwhelming. You just take out time to do mixtapes sort of as an experiment of your creativity and your love for art. You don't really do it to make a big impression, per se, on culture, but more to sort of feel out where you are creatively. It's sort of like a blueprint for what you're about to do next. And so that's why you don't sell it. That's why you kind of give it away and kind of allow the fans to just absorb who you are in the moment. So I was definitely overwhelmed by the response, so overwhelmed that I went back to Paris and London and went back to Amsterdam and even towards some cities here in the States just to show my appreciation.
How do you like traveling overseas?
I love traveling anywhere, whether it's Boston or London, you know, whether it's New Orleans or somewhere far away. I just love to travel.
We actually got a couple of fan questions. Before I dive into talk about the album, I'm going to do this in a little different order than I thought I was going to do this interview. But I got a fan question that somebody wants to know, what were some of your favorite collaborations that you did?
Well, all of my favorite collaborations are with Wale. we just have a really cool chemistry that I don't know how to explain. So I think I probably am going to stop asking him, or I think he'll probably, maybe he won't, I don't know, but I think I'm going to stop asking him to collaborate all the time, because if it was up to me, we would just do a bunch of albums together, and that would be music.
That would be dope, like a compilation out with the both of you.
Yeah, he's really special.
He definitely got that. I think that should happen. I think you guys should definitely make that happen. I do love the chemistry. And so I know that you took a year off from recording. During that time of taking a year off from recording, what were you doing? Were you like writing? Were you just kind of like refocusing? Like during that time, what were you doing?
Just so you know, I'm usually never writing. I'm usually not in front of anything with a book. Usually not listening to music. I mean, usually not doing anything anyone expects me to be doing. That's the first time I've ever said that to anybody. And it's funny just hearing myself say it. I'm sorry. But no, you know what? I was traveling a lot. Because a lot of times when I'm in a space where I don't know what to do next, I just have to go around and look, and see what is next. Sometimes you find that in a different country. Sometimes you find it in your backyard. But sometimes it doesn't happen just by sitting in one place and kind of waiting. Sometimes you got to go and find your answers. And so that's what I was doing. I was looking for, in the song Pray Me Well, I say I'm looking for my love again. I'm looking for my heart again. I'm looking for my art. Pray for me. And that's really what I was doing. I was looking for art.
That actually brings me to another question. Now, what kind of art do you definitely find, like, beauty in?
What type of art?
Mm-hmm.
You said what type of music, or what did you say?
What type of art besides music?
I'm a cartoon junkie. Like serious cartoon junkie. Every country that I go to, and even some city that I go to, I go and find the comic books of that city. I love cartoons. I'm just really that infatuated. I love clothing, and I love like small boutiques where people make the things by hand, and you can't really find a lot of them. And then I'm also obsessed with anything from vintage shades to vintage bags. I have quite a few of my own. And then just people. People are the most beautiful thing to me. I will sit and people watch on the bench for hours.
So let's talk fashion, because you just mentioned the fact of having vintage bags and vintage sunglasses. How would you describe your style? Because, I mean, girl, you got style for her. I'm like, damn, she better get it. There's always something different with each album. Yeah.
It is definitely always something different. I have a really, really hard time doing the same thing twice. So if you ever do see me do the same thing twice, then probably ask me, can you do that again? From anything from my hair to a style of shoe. But this particular album, I really embraced the culture around me here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which is kind of a hipster vibe. I'm referring to it as rich hipster. But it's a new type of fashion that I feel like I can really embrace, because it embodies everything from a really fun night out to packing your books and going to school, I think that a rich hipster is not necessarily worried about the activities that they're doing that day, but they're more concerned with the way that they're feeling and what they want to give off. So I'm just in a space where I just want to wear what I feel. And right now, I'm feeling born again. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling like I'm having a rebirth. And so my vow is to wear white the entire year.
That's hot. That's hot. And I've definitely seen pictures of you this year wearing white already. So that indeed is true. Everybody, she is wearing white. So make sure you guys check out Chrisette. Her outfits are like on point. These white outfits, check them out. And
thank you. Derek Roche has been really kind in pulling some pieces for me from everyone from the Alexander McQueen collections to Giuseppe Zanotti. So it's been a really fun time.
So you mentioned feeling, and let me tell you, the feeling I get when I hear your music is just like undescribable. Like I can feel your emotion and get like the pain with each song, especially Blame It On Me. I love that song. And I noticed that your vocal tone is very different. Who are some of your musical influences?
I don't think I've ever tried to sound like anyone. As a matter of fact, if I was to tell the truth, I've always tried not to sound like the girl singing Blame It On Me. Because she's so loud and so, she's just so loud. And so, but when I get behind the microphone and I hear the lyrics, I can't help but make a lot of noise. The truth is that my vocal influences are people with sweeter voices, kind of like Norah Jones and Sarah McLachlan and, Colby Calais even. But the more I stand behind that microphone, the more people tell me that I must have listened to Aretha Franklin or I must have listened to Phyllis Hyman on my way up. But the truth is I was just introduced to those people when I got signed to Def Jam.
Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting. Who would ever know that?
Yeah, and that's why I studied classical and jazz, because my voice was so loud and boisterous that I needed somebody to just teach me balance, which is why I can sing Blame It On Me, and I can sing Love Is You, and be just as honest.
That's my favorite. I've got to ask you about that song. When you recorded that song, what was the process like?
Well, you got to understand that John Legend was in the room. And so you can't think of anything else but love when you think of his music and of his presence. He's just a very romantic-looking, sounding individual. So we were talking about the definition of love, and he, like me, likes books, and so we were looking up different definitions of love, and we decided to just come up with our own definition. When we finally did that, and after we had some Virgil's barbecue chicken wings, because that is very necessary, we went into the booth, he played, and I sang. And that song took maybe one take because it was just so natural, the vibe between he and I. He's one of my favorite people to work with.
It definitely seems like he is so awesome to work with in the studio, from just like what I've heard from different people in the industry, from producers and writers and artists even saying. So I believe that because, he's just so talented.
Yeah, he's talented, but it's like as if he's just walking. It's not necessarily a thing where he says, what do you think about this? It's more of, let's just sit down at the piano and hang out, And those are my favorite types of people to work with, people who just kind of want to hang out in the studio and see what happens. Because we've done music that hasn't made any albums, too, just to create.
Now, what are some of your favorite songs that you've written?
You know what? That's a really hard question. I think my favorite song that I've written is Best of Me, and that's because I like American music. I like American melodies, very standard, simple melodies. And those are the songs that I perform the least. Your Joy is probably another one that I really I love. And then from this new album, I experimented with being really, really loud on purpose. And so I wrote the song called Better. And it's just as passionate as Blame It On Me, but the lyrics are sweeter. And they're about something a little bit softer. They're not so angry. So it was me testing myself to see if I could be loud and in love at the same time.
And now Better is the title of the new album. Can you kind of tell us about the concept for this one? Now it's different from the others.
I took actually 2 years kind of off this quote-unquote scene. And when I say scene, I just mean away from interviews, television, anything with media. And I've tried to be as not rude as possible when I say that in an interview, because I don't have anything against interviewers.
Right.
But I needed to. No, yeah, I love each of you, and you all have been really, really beautiful. But I needed to take a minute to not know what I want to say. Do you know? Take a minute to just kind of be quiet and figure out what I want to say. Because a lot of times people will just talk, and then they'll say, "Man, I shouldn't have said that." I kind of want to avoid that as often as possible. So I took a minute. I juiced, I fasted, I prayed, I meditated, and I was really, really quiet. And during that time, I lost 30 pounds, but I also lost a lot of spiritual and emotional baggage that I had. And so as those things began to lift off of me, the lyrics that I was writing were so much sweeter and so much kinder. I was even surprised by myself. I couldn't help but to call this state of feeling or existence better. You know, it was the only thing that described the way I was feeling. And so that's what I decided to call the album. It's me. It's who I am right now.
And that's so awesome that, you know, you're feeling better, and it's just a more empowering and enlightening feeling. Not saying that your albums weren't that feeling, because it brought joy to so many different people, and people felt what you were saying, but it's good that you're at a, as a person, let's just say as a person, it's better that to know that, yeah, better, right? that you're better, and that, you know, you're at a better place in life, because we have to go through, you know, different hardships. So it's good that you're bringing that.
Definitely. And I hate that fact, but it is true. So it's gotten me to where I am, and I'm grateful.
Let's talk about the singles Better, and then you got Better. You got a couple of Forevers, and then you got the single with 2 Chainz. Wow, I mean, three amazing singles right there. Let's talk about them.
God bless 2 Chainz for shouting me out in his album. I was in my apartment. I was getting dressed, packing my bags to go somewhere. I don't remember. And I downloaded the 2 Chainz album on my computer. Because everybody was tweeting me saying, yo, 2 Chainz shouted you out on his album. I said, what? Because I was bigging up 2 Chainz every time I was in the club. I was like, yo, I need 2 Chainz and I need Trey Songz right now. That was what I would say when I come to the club. So anyway, next thing I know, I hear my name on his song. So I said, let me tweet him and see if this is really like, if he really actually knows who I am, or somebody told him to say that. So long story short, I DM'd 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz hits me back. I'm like, yo, we should collab. He's like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, for real? So I sent him a couple of songs. Charades wasn't the song I asked him to get on, but he was like, yo, I'm getting on this one. I was like, okay, whatever. You're 2 Chainz. Do whatever you want. And he did, and we put it out on my mixtape. It got such a greater response than what I expected that I decided to go ahead and put it on the album with an album version. And so that is the song Charades. But it was inspired for the Audrey Hepburn mixtape.
And kind of tell people who haven't heard that song, kind of tell them what that's about, because it has a beautiful message.
Thank you. I was just telling this guy that, you know, the truth is the name of one of Audrey's films was called Charades. And so I decided to steal that title because the mixtape was a bunch of her film titles. And so I kind of just went into the booth. I was listening to Drake all the way to the studio, and I kind of was trying to imitate Drake. So I was like, what would Drake do in this moment? And I was like, he'd probably keep the beat real clean, real smooth, and not say too much, and just kind of get his point across in a really simple melody. And so I was impersonating Drake when I wrote Charades.
Oh, wow. That's excellent. And
I hope he's not offended by that, by the way.
I
hope I didn't do a bad job.
No, you didn't do a bad job, but I don't think he would be offended at all. I mean,
okay.
I don't think he'd be offended at all. I don't see why he would. Drake, if you're offended, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's great when you and Drake collab. Like, as a music, I was like, what?
Yeah, I think
all I wanted to hear was your part. You and Drake's part.
I think he's really dope. And he's really, really nice, which is really, really cool. So it's like a, what do you call it, a double threat.
Yeah, and you definitely get that from his music, that he's a real calm and he's very approachable, too.
Yeah, no, super chill. Yeah, and you know what I love about Drake? I don't tell people this often, but the truth is that he tells the story of I hate this word, but I'm going to say it for you, celebrity. He tells the story of the celebrity, and he tells what they go through and what it feels like. And he's the only person that I can listen to and say, oh, my God, he's telling my life. Or, oh, my God, he's telling the story. People wouldn't know that we go through that stuff if somebody didn't say it, but Drake is really brave enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to repeat his lyrics because I don't want y'all to know what stuff I be doing like Drake, but he tells the truth.
Yes, He's preaching to the choir for sure.
Okay, good.
Is he going to be on the on Better?
He's not going to be on this album, no. Mm-mm.
That would have been hot though.
It would have been hot. I think the name of the next album is called Faster, and I think that's when I'm going to ask Drake if he would be so kind as to assist me.
Faster. I like the concept. Have you you have like the concept already thought through with Faster, or you're kind of still
I do. But what's going to happen is I'm going to go on the road and I'm going to see everybody, and they're going to inspire the concept even more. I'm just happy that I have it in my head, so that when I meet everybody and see everybody, I can know what to write.
That's excellent. I just love how your creative process is. I'm going to go tour, I'm going to go travel the world, and then I'm going to just get the feeling of everybody, and then I'm going to come back, write, record, and do all that stuff. Because, I mean, that's great right there.
Thank you.
You're still being inspired and using inspiration from the people that you meet, the places that you see.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely a people junkie.
And not a lot of artists are really doing that, too. You know, people are just, doing the old way of going in, recording how they feel, but not, expanding.
Yeah, I just get really bored really fast with myself, with me, with Chrisette. I'm one person, and there are millions and millions of people in the world. So if I'm only inspired by myself, then it's pretty shallow.
And now, a fan wanted to know acting. Can we expect you doing some acting? Because they think you would be great in it, they said. That's coming from Jim.
I've been talking to some of my acting friends, like Tasha Smith, and I told them, I said, listen, I got to get skinny so I can go hang out with y'all in Hollywood. And so I just don't feel comfortable being a size 10 in Hollywood. I just don't feel right. But for some reason, I've been getting all of these scripts and calls for auditions and stuff. And so, I mean, I guess I'm going to go see what that's about. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like I fit in Hollywood. Maybe if Hollywood comes to Brooklyn, maybe I'll start acting.
Yeah, I think there does need to be more movies that are filmed in New York, because it's not saying there's not a lot that are, but, the film industry is now L.A., Atlanta. It's like...
Yeah. My dream is to be in like the more indie type of film scenes.
Okay.
So after we put out Better and we tour and we travel and we do the world thing again, I'm going to come back and I'm going to hang out with some of my producer friends who do stuff more on the indie circuit, because that's really my dream, is to do movies about things that we don't necessarily get to hear about very often. Although I love mainstream movies, I do go to the movies and watch them. They're not necessarily who I am as an individual.
That's what's up. I think we would all definitely love to just see your movies. Period. I think independent for you, just from what you're saying and getting the feel for your personality. I think that'd be great for you.
Yeah, it'd be really fun. Really fun.
Let's see if we got any more questions, because I had got a whole bunch of questions. I don't know if you saw me blow up your Twitter last night.
Oh, no, I didn't.
But,
I went to sleep at 7 o'clock last night and woke up at 9 this morning. That's how tired I was when I got off the plane. So,
wow. I had a feeling you went to sleep for some odd reason. And you're like, what the hell, David? Because I noticed how, like, you tweet throughout the day, and I'm like, he didn't retweet. That's kind of
Oh, I'm sorry. No, yeah, I was so surprised because I went to bed and I was hungry. And I usually don't like going to sleep hungry. I'll, go get an apple or something, a banana. But I was so tired, I just went right to sleep and woke up at 9 o'clock this morning. I had a very long, fun week on the road.
And I noticed that you were, you did a show with Anthony Hamilton. How was that?
Yeah, he's always fun. He's become like family to me. Just allow me to join him on some of his shows all over the country. We always have a good time. And his audience and my audience actually like each other. It's very awkward when you have two audiences. You're doing a show with two artists that their audiences like both artists, but they don't necessarily like each other. Do you know? I don't want to say any names, so I'll just use hypothetical moments. Say if I'm doing a show with, like, say, like a gangster rapper, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I have the opportunity to do so much in the hip-hop community,
Right.
the hip-hop community might like me, you know? So if we did a show together, our audience members, some of my audience members might be grandparents who may not necessarily listen to gangster rap.
Right.
So I guess what I meant to say was the two artists like each other, you know, like we get along, but we never thought, oh, wait a second, it might not make sense for us to do a show together because our audiences, you know, aren't necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I
don't know.
The political side of it.
The political side of it, like me and 2 Chainz collaborating. Some people think that's the best idea since sliced bread. Like me, like 2 Chainz. But then, you know, then I have, you know, this person over here who does not listen to hip-hop, and then 2 Chainz might have this person over here who does not listen to R&B. So when we do shows together, we kind of have to be very strategic when we collaborate. So my point was me and Anthony Hamilton kind of have similar audiences, and so it kind of sense for us to do stuff together.
And that's true because I have seen, actually Anthony knows of me, knows who I am. And I've seen his show, and yeah, definitely I would say that your audience, I haven't been to your show yet, but trust me, when you come to Philly or back to New York in a show, I'll be there. You just got to let a brother know. But I can just tell.
Well, I want you to know I'll be in Philadelphia really soon. I'm excited. I think the best show collaboration that I've ever done is about to come up next, and that's me and Keisha Cole. We're going on together. I think that's going to be off the chain because you got your mixture of hip-hop heads because hip-hop loves Keisha, hip-hop appreciates what I'm doing, and then R&B, you know, appreciates both of us. And so I think that's going to be a really well-rounded show. And I think the two of us are going to hit it off great. So I'm very excited about that.
Wow. So
you're the first person I told that to, so surprise. Surprise.
Oh, wow. That's going to be so hot.
It's just going to be hype, you know? Like, I think the energy is going to be up. Because as an R&B singer, as a young R&B singer, you get caught between being soulful. But, yeah, I'm excited about that. So that starts on March 27th, and we'll be going.
You definitely have to let me know because I definitely want to meet you in person and do an in-person interview. You know, doing exclusive stuff. But we're excited.
Cool.
We're so excited for everything that you have going. Before I let you go, is there any other projects you want to drop on us besides that?
Well, really quick, the Journey to Better is a little documentary style 8 pieces that will be releasing from March 1st up until the album drops. With my film company and my best friend's film company, GSE and Rich Hipster. And so every week you can get a snippet of Journey to Better. And at the end of each snippet, there'll be me performing one of the songs from the album acoustically with just me and a guitar, just me and a piano. So.
That's what's up. I'm so excited. You got me hype over here, especially after you just said that tour. Woo.
I can't believe it myself. And I keep waiting. I keep checking Keisha's tweets.